Hey guys, welcome to another talkie. I'm Kevin,
I'm Whitney.
and today we're going to do something I've wanted to do for a long time. We're going to be ranking the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. I'm not going to go through all the shows and stuff because I haven't seen them all, and that's just too much of a headache for me to deal with. So I'm just going to rank the movies themselves today. But before I get started, Whit has something she wanted to show everybody, so we'll go ahead and do that.
So we did a couple videos last night, a little bit about us and what we like and books and stuff like that. So we went on a Target haul yesterday, and my love got me two new to me, Colleen Hoover books, Layla and Too Late, which now are in my collection that I did not have. And then we spoke about Alex Astor. She had the new book that came out, Starside. This is one of her books too, Summer in the City. So I think I have one or two more of her books to get, and I will completely have all of her books.
That's cool. You'll be up to caught up.
Yes, I thought that I had all of them, but I didn't know about this one.
They snuck one in on you.
I typed her name in Google, and then it showed me all these, and I was like, oh, I gotta get them all. And then we talked about this on a previous video before too, on like our favorite series and shows. This is called The Summer I Turned Pretty, and he got me the trilogy, and it has The Summer I Turned Pretty, It's Not Summer Without You, and We'll Always Have Summer. And it's really pretty colors and pretty box.
Nice little set.
Belly in this book is the main female character, and I love her.
Did they ever say why they call her Belly? Just out of curiosity.
Her name, I can't remember.
Like
her
short
full
for something.
name.
Oh,
yeah, I think it was short for something.
Okay, I didn't know if maybe she had a stomach problem or or maybe she had surgery or something. I don't know. Well, she could have had like a life-altering surgical procedure, and they started calling her Belly. You know, who knows?
Be nice.
I'm serious. Like that, you never know.
No, I think it's something to do with her first.
So they just
real
shortened
name.
her
Yeah.
name. Okay.
It's just a nickname. You know, everybody's got a nickname. They call her Belly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my Target haul that he bought me yesterday. We went to Barnes & Noble, but probably should have went to Barnes & Noble first and then Target. But then again, Target has better deals on books, so.
Yeah, Barnes & Noble. I love going to Barnes & Noble, but they are really expensive. But it's like, I guess, the whole experience going, because you can actually sit and read stuff if you want. Mm-hmm. It's like an atmosphere thing.
Yeah, the atmosphere is just calming. And we're nerds, so.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, we're happily nerds.
it's fitting.
By the way, speaking of what we got each other, my love got me this awesome shirt. It says Home Sweet Home with the one and only Castle Grayskull on it.
He-Man.
Thank you. That was awesome.
He has the power.
I like to think I do, anyway. But, yeah, I love this shirt, rocking it today. Not that it's Marvel, but we're talking about Marvel today. And like I said, I'm going to just briefly go over my ranking from worst to best of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just the movies, okay? So, as of right now, there's 37. It's hard to believe there's 37 movies in the MCU. Later this year, we've still got Spider-Man Brand New Day, Avengers Doomsday, and then next year, Avengers Secret Wars has been mentioned. I don't know if there's anything in between or anything else official yet.
Hold on, guys.
See if
Sorry.
you can adjust that. Sorry, it's cutting
Top of our
my
heads are
off.
cut off. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
there we go.
I don't know if
That's a little
that's a
better.
little bit better.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
thank you. That was getting on my nerves too, but I was focusing on what I was saying.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. So, without further ado, we're going to go into our rankings. So, my number 37, my least favorite MCU project, movie so far, is The Marvels. It is a sequel to Captain Marvel, and it's also a sequel to the Miss Marvel show, and it's a sequel to WandaVision, and it feels like you have to do too much homework to know who these characters are, too much backstory. When these movies expect you to watch shows to know who the characters are, it's too much to demand of the audience, especially if they're not a diehard comic fan or Marvel fan. Plus, a lot of the MCU, in my opinion, the last couple of phases really diminished in quality. And so there come a point when, like, after the first three phases, I felt like it started tapering off and losing a lot of momentum that it used to have. So, but yeah, I've been to most of these movies, the majority of the movies, and it's usually an event. It was always an event to go to a Marvel movie, and a lot of these of the later line, it just seems like they're not event movies. It's just like just another popcorn movie, you know. So anyway, you'll understand my opinion as I go on down the list. So number 36 is Eternals. Eternals was, again, you're expecting too much of the audience. There's like 16 or so new characters or more. Like, you just throw these new characters in, and there's very little explanation, from what I can remember, about why they haven't been mentioned before, why they haven't shown up. They maybe, dabble in some little crappy reason as to why they haven't shown up. Like, maybe the humans weren't worthy of whatever, but it's just like, you've got all these different characters they're supposed to be like, everlasting characters that have all these powers, and you got this one that's fast, and this one that's strong, and this one does the cosmic stuff, and it's like nobody knows who any of them are. You threw them in here willy-nilly to make this movie. I will say that it's an attractive looking movie. It's filmed well. It's got lots of vibrant colors and stuff, but like, nobody knows who anybody is unless you're a comic fan. And the MCU worked early because you were building to the Avengers. They didn't just throw the Avengers at you. You had Iron Man, and you had Hulk, and you had everybody building to the Avengers. They didn't do that with Eternals, and I just felt like they did a disservice. Number 35, Black Widow. This movie came out too late. By the way, there's going to be some spoilers here and there. Just expect that. The reason it came out too late is because the Black Widow character was killed off in Avengers Endgame, and then after Avengers Endgame, I think it was the following year or 2 years after, Black Widow comes out. And I'm just like, wait, this movie has no point. Like, there's really no purpose other than introducing some of the characters who would later go on to be in Thunderbolts. I mean, that's basically it. There's nothing that happens in this movie that is relevant to pushing the narrative forward. So, and I just felt like it was just too much spectacle and not enough substance. Taskmaster was an awesome villain in the comics, and they wasted it. Taskmaster's supposed to be a dude who can mimic everybody's fighting styles in a second. Like, he can match Captain America in a second just by fighting him once. And they turned it into a girl who's brainwashed, and she's just an assassin, basically. And I'm just, they just did a huge disservice to that character. When I first heard Taskmaster was in the movie, that's what got me excited for it. And then they ruined it. And a lot of the problems on this list, the movies that are on this list, and the problems that I have, is because of the villains. They just do the villains a disservice, or they nerf them really bad. Number 34 is Captain America Brave New World. This was the fourth Captain America movie, the one where Anthony Mackie is, previously Falcon. Now he's the new Captain America, and he's got his own Falcon. And this movie tries to do too much. It's a sequel to The Incredible Hulk, which was long awaited. The Incredible Hulk came out the same year as Iron Man, 2008. And we've yet to touch back on any of the other characters other than Hulk and Thunderbolt Ross. The rest of the characters weren't even mentioned up until this. And now we've got, Red Hulk. They follow up with the leader's story. They're throwing in stuff from the Serpent Society and all these different things. And it's just too much for this movie. And, it's bad enough when, Chris Evans stepped away. They finished Steve Rogers' arc. He retired as an old man and handed the shield off to Falcon. But then, you almost have to watch the show Falcon and the Winter Soldier to be caught up in that situation. And it's just like on and on. So I don't like all the homework that they're requiring everybody to do to stay caught up. And this movie just tried to be too ambitious, and it just did not work out. Number 33, Captain Marvel. This movie has a lot of really good visuals, but I've got some problems with it, obviously. I don't like Brie Larson at all. I do not like her. I cannot stand her attitude. I just don't like her, and I know she's rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way. But even that notwithstanding, she has no character development. She starts out as the most powerful person, and she ends up even more powerful, still being the most powerful person. She didn't learn much. She didn't grow as a character. She just defeats the bad guy at the end, just willy-nilly, boom, and the fight's over. And it's just like, really? Like, I like the flashback with, you know, we got a 90s story, so it's an origin story, and you get to see young Nick Fury and all that kind of stuff. But I was so disappointed with the Nick Fury thing, because in Winter Soldier, you know, well, in Avengers and everything else prior, but in Winter Soldier it even hinted at it, Nick Fury says, "Last time I trusted somebody, I lost an eye." Well, in this one, they turned it into a joke. This cat alien called a Flurkin scratched his eye, and that's how he lost his eye. And I'm just like, really? You had all this secret intrigue about how you lost your eye and who turned on you, and you did it as a joke with some stupid cat thing. So, yeah, I didn't like that. Captain Marvel didn't do much for me. Number 32, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This is the third Ant-Man movie. They were supposed to showcase Kang as the big new villain, and of course there was all this Jonathan Majors legal trouble, so they ousted Kang as the villain and shifted to, you know, we've got the whole multiverse thing expanding, and Doctor Doom is now the big baddie and all this kind of stuff. But Kang, in the comics and cartoons and everything, Kang is like this ultimate villain. Like, he takes on all of the Avengers. And in this movie, Ant-Man and some really smart ants beat him. And I'm just like, really? And there's a problem with Michelle Pfeiffer's character. She plays Janet. And Janet's been spending all this time in the quantum realm before, remember, she got rescued and all that. She never mentioned any of this stuff. She never mentioned before this movie that there was this warlord in the quantum realm who was going to create all these problems until this movie. And all of a sudden, it's now in the, you know, oh, now it's important. Now it's a problem. And so it's just too many inconsistencies.
I'm not familiar with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Was it by chance, did she lose her memory while she was in there?
I don't think she did, because they brought her back in Ant-Man and the Wasp, the second one.
Okay.
And she didn't say anything. Like, she came back and she recognized Hank and she recognized Hope and all of that stuff.
Well, I'm saying, like, did she lose her memory only while she was in there?
I don't know.
As far as getting out of there and remembering what happened while she was in there.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But if memory serves,
a possibility.
I've seen this I think once. I think she remembered it before they went back to the quantum realm in the movie.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I don't know what all of a sudden it was urgent, you know.
Right.
So I don't know. It just felt like a forced narrative.
I gotta fix this again. I'm sorry, guys.
Sorry, folks. We're having some trouble here. Just bear with it. There we go. That's better. Now you can see
There you go. There's your head.
See my nappy hair there.
No, it's not.
So next, number 31, we got Thor: Love and Thunder. This is the fourth Thor movie. Garbage. Absolute. I was so mad at this movie. It had such potential, because Thor Ragnarok was great. That was the third one, and it shifted the focus. You know, the first two Thor movies were kind of more dark and everything. Ragnarok went full comedy, and it was great. It worked. The chemistry was better. And this one, you have conflicting tones. You have this really comical story where you've got these goats that are screaming the whole time, and you got, you know, Jane Foster's got Thor's power. She's dying of cancer, but when she gets the hammer, she's got the power of Thor, and Thor's the butt of the joke and everything. And then on the other side, you've got the villain, Gore the God Butcher, who has this horrible story about he lost his child, and he was praying that the gods would help him, and the gods were laughing at him, and so he started killing all the gods because they didn't help him with his daughter, and they were laughing at his pain. That's a dark story. That's a deep narrative. Why is it in this movie? I don't know. They wasted Christian Bale as that character, and there was so many jokes where they were just making an excuse to get Chris Hemsworth butt naked. That's all they were doing. That's all they were worried about, and all of these stupid innuendo jokes and everything. There's even something, I believe it's this movie, where they had an ice cream stand called the Infinity Cones, and I'm like, okay, so you're going to make fun of genocide and something where it wiped out half the universe? That just seems in bad taste to me. This movie just does not work.
Sometimes I wonder how bored they get.
Yeah,
to create something.
They try so hard for a laugh at the expense of a really cool story. So I don't
or even that of mocking a good character.
Yeah, exactly. Thor is a joke in this movie. They make him stupid. And following that up with number 30 is Thor the Dark World. At least he wasn't the butt of the joke in this movie, but what brings this movie down is mainly the villain for me. Malekith, he's supposed to lead the Dark Elves, and he's this big menace, and really he's just after the Reality Stone. And, Jane Foster gets sick, and Thor has to take her to Asgard, and they realize that the ether's inside of her, and Malekith's trying to take it. And meanwhile, you have the Dark Elves attacking Asgard, and Malekith ends up killing Frigga, Thor's mother. And, that was a dark moment. And you have Loki in the prison, and, Loki and Thor are always on the outs, but you can tell that he loves his mother by how he reacts when he gets the news. And that was heartbreaking. There's some good stuff here. It's just overall, it doesn't work. It just doesn't come together, and Malekith is underutilized. It just turns into another CGI fight. Coming in at number 29 is Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3, I really, really wanted to like Iron Man 3. I did. My problem with Iron Man 3 is that, number one, yes, the Mandarin twist does make me mad. And it's not that I'm a big fan of the Marvel character. Do you know who the Mandarin is in the comics?
No.
Okay. The Mandarin is a guy who has 10 rings on his fingers, and they each have a different power. They hint at Mandarin later. They do something else down the road in a different movie we'll get to.
Talking about the stones?
No, they're actual rings. That Tony keeps talking about the 10 rings, the group. Okay. That's where the name comes from.
Okay.
But in the comics, Mandarin was like this martial arts sorcerer guy who gets these rings, and they each have a different ability.
Okay.
But in this movie, in the trailers, when the trailers were coming out, I was so excited because I was like, well, it's not the Mandarin, but it's a Mandarin, and the Mandarin they were promising was like this terrorist guy, and he's like, you'll never see me coming. And, he starts bombing Tony Stark's house and everything, and I'm just like, that's a cool idea. And then 3/4 of the movie, they throw it in it's exchanged for a joke. And it's really just an actor. And you've got this other guy who Tony Stark scorned in the past. And now he's the new Mandarin. And he's got the extremis virus. And everybody's breathing fire and turning to flame. And I was like, this is just stupid. So they wasted the Mandarin. And the twist was stupid.
I just looked it up. Sorry, not to interrupt. I looked it up to see if it served any memory, but no.
You don't remember that?
No.
Okay. It's not great, and they give Pepper the extremis thing, so she becomes a super soldier briefly or whatever, and then they even take Tony Stark's arc reactor out for no reason because he still has an arc reactor in every movie after this. It's just not keeping the thing from his heart like it normally did. So. There was just a lot of wasted potential here. It was a good Tony Stark story, I guess, but even all the Iron Man suits flying in and all of that, it couldn't do much for this movie, in my opinion. It's always left a bad taste in my mouth. Number 28, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I can appreciate this movie in a way, because this was the follow-up to Infinity War. This came out right after Infinity War, which was a huge event, and this is a little heist movie, you know. But I just don't like some of the side characters in it. And you have this character, Ghost, who is suffering because she's in pain and she can't control her ability to phase in and out. And so then you've got, she's trying to steal Hank Pym's, he's shrunk down his little, his building is shrunk down and he carries it like a suitcase. She's trying to basically steal his technology to cure herself or whatever. But you've got this other guy, Walton Goggins plays, and he's like some guy, I'm not CIA, but I don't know, some guy that's just trying to steal the stuff himself. And it's just like a heist movie, and it's just not as good as the first one. There's nothing really no momentum happens until the credit scene. It's got a great credit scene that hooks with Infinity War, but aside from that, this movie's very forgettable for me.
So this is the second one?
Yes.
The first one's just Ant-Man,
Just
right?
Ant-Man.
Okay.
Correct.
I want to make sure I was right.
27, I've got The Incredible Hulk. I feel kind of bad for this movie because it's kind of the black sheep, because it's the only one that wasn't put out by Marvel Studios. It was Universal put this out because they own the movie rights to Hulk. And so if you do a Hulk movie, Universal gets so many rights and blah, blah, blah. So they just utilize Hulk in somebody else's movie all the time, and that's how they get around it. But Incredible Hulk, you had Edward Norton instead of Mark Ruffalo. He was the very first in the MCU to play Banner, and they had a falling out later with, I don't know if it was creative differences or he wanted more money. I don't know what it was, but Edward Norton played him here and didn't play him any other time. The Abomination was cool. It was like basically him and an evil Hulk having a cool fight. It was basically, we're just waiting for this big showdown at the end of it. I like the Incredible Hulk, but it sticks out like a sore thumb now. And now that we have the other version of the Hulk that's kind of taken over, it's almost forgettable in a way for me. So that's number 27. Excuse me, I'm going to take a swig of something.
All right.
Number 26 is the very first Thor. I saw this in 3D when it came out. The visuals were great, but I felt like there was very little Asgard comparatively to what there should have been. Way too much time on Earth. And it felt really a lot smaller than it should have been. And I know the MCU was trying to find its footing because that was in the first phase. But it just felt like they could have done so much more to me. It introduced Hawkeye, and that Hawkeye had his very first cameo in Thor. That was cool. I remember getting excited about that because at this time they had already announced they were building an Avengers movie. But Loki was the best part of the movie. And Loki, Tom Hiddleston plays a great Loki. And every time he plays the character, he's awesome. But that's really all that highlights this movie. Like, it's got a good cast, but like nothing really memorable happens. Sorry for the sirens. We're right here on the main strip, and there's always something happening. But yeah, Thor lands right here at number 26. It's just kind of meh. 25, Iron Man 2. Again, this one is focused on building an Avengers movie rather than telling a complete story. Because you've got Black Widow showing up for the first time in this one. You got Whiplash, which they do very little with as a villain. It's got some good visuals, but the end fight is very underwhelming. It's basically Iron Man and Rhodey fighting drones, fighting robots. That's it. I mean, that's basically it. The fight lasts about 5-10 minutes.
Did you say Whiplash?
Whiplash. Mickey Rourke, where he had like the laser whips, and you remember Tony was on the race car thing.
He was in sync when he'd whip them things around.
Yeah.
Okay. All I could think of was He-Man.
He-Man Whiplash, yeah. I like that character better.
Yeah.
But the highlight of this movie for me was Sam Rockwell playing Justin Hammer, who's Tony Stark's rival. Anytime Sam Rockwell's on screen, I'm watching. That guy he takes over the screen. I love that guy. And he's a likable bad guy in this movie. He makes you laugh. He's got a good sense of humor, good character arc. he's funny. I like it. But aside from that, Iron Man 2, again, it's just uneventful. Number 24, Spider-Man Far From Home. This is the one with Mysterio as the main villain. And Peter Parker and his friends are going on a school trip. And along the way, they end up seeing Mysterio, and all these crazy things are happening, and these elemental creatures are showing up.
This is the one that I liked.
You like that one?
Yes. Jake Gyllenhaal. Right?
Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal is playing the Mysterio, and he's again out to get Tony Stark's tech. And he got spurned by Tony a long time ago, and so he was making it look like there's all these creatures attacking things, and he was saving the Earth when actually he's a master of illusion, and he's got these laser and guns and everything, light shows and everything, and it's all for show.
It makes you see what he wants you to see.
Exactly, yeah. And they did a good job utilizing Mysterio, because in the comics, he was the master of illusion, but he was always a little hokey, and it's like you have to know how to do it nowadays. And I think they did as well as they could. The visuals are great, but I just felt like when you're comparing it with the other Spider-Man movies in the MCU, I think it's the weakest one. I don't think the fight scenes are as good, and I'll get to my problems with other fight scenes too. But in this one, I just think the character, it was so obvious, and I watched Sean Chandler on his channel talk about this. What are you laughing at? What'd I do wrong?
No, nothing.
Oh,
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, okay. Sean Chandler.
Gotta Google.
Sean Chandler mentioned this on his channel. He was talking about how the plot of it doesn't make sense, because this is after Endgame. Tony Stark has died, and he's left these glasses to Peter Parker. And it has all of Stark tech on these glasses. His entire company is basically in these glasses, his secret files and everything. And Peter Parker was dead at the time when Tony would have left this to him. He had been blipped in the Thanos snap. So the timeline does not make sense if you put any kind of thought into it whatsoever.
Does it have not anything to do with the different universe?
No, because this is the same... This is the same Earth that Tony remember in Civil War, he recruited Peter to be on his team.
Okay.
It's the same world.
Yeah, I didn't like the fact that Spider-Man decided to
give
the glasses over to Mysterio.
Yeah, he didn't feel like he could handle it, and he gave it to Mysterio.
I'm sorry, but Iron Man gives me something. I'm holding on to that.
Yeah, that was a little obvious, and that's another problem I had with it. So, yeah, we'll move on now from that. Number 23, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I have a soft spot because I understand they were dealt a horrible hand. Chadwick Boseman died before this movie could be made, and they already had a script and everything ready to go. And,
it wasn't in the making, it was before?
Yeah, I think it was right before.
Oh, man.
And so they had to completely change. They were on a deadline, and they had to completely change their story. So, and it was heartbreaking because I thought he was great in the role. But... So they had to shift it, but it also felt like kind of a love letter to him, because part of he dies, the character dies also, and so it's almost like a funeral at part of the movie for the real guy. And then you have this, they had to use Namor, which they changed Namor's origin and everything to make him the villain, but I don't like Shuri as the new Black Panther. I just don't. I don't buy it. I don't think she's very compelling as a character. I thought Angela Bassett was really good in it, but I'm not real big on this movie. I went to the theater and seen it. My cousin took me, and it was just I don't think I've watched it since. And I feel bad saying that because they had a horrible hand dealt to them, but still, yet when I make these lists, I'm like, well, how often do I go back and want to rewatch this? Never. I never want to.
So you're explaining it. Did they replace the original Black Panther with a female?
His sister that was in
took over.
Yes, she took over the mantle.
Oh man.
Yeah.
See, I haven't watched this one.
So they didn't recast, which I almost think they should have.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So yeah, I have mixed feelings about that, but it lands here at 23. I don't hate it, but it's just kind of there, 22 is the first Doctor Strange. This movie had awesome visuals. I love the visuals when they're doing the mirror dimension and they got the buildings going in like Inception, and they're fighting out on the street and they got cars going in all directions like different realities. It was awesome. And I love Mads Mikkelsen. His villain does nothing but do the same stuff as Doctor Strange, just for a bad reason. He's following Dormammu, and Dormammu was kind of wasted in this movie. And I like how he beat Dormammu because it's humorous, but Dormammu is a big cosmic entity, and I just feel like he was wasted here. Yeah, it's okay. Benedict Cumberbatch is great in the role. I think he's great as Doctor Strange, but I also prefer him in the Avengers type movies, the team up movies, rather than his own, I think. Number 21, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This is one that's got Kurt Russell playing Ego, and you find out that he is a Celestial, and he's also Peter Quill's father, and that he killed Peter Quill's mother. And, you got Baby Groot in here, which I love. I love Baby Groot. Yeah, it's my favorite Groot. But on the whole, this movie is the worst of the trilogy. It's not horrible, but there's parts of it that make me mad. Like whenever they're on the Ravager ship and all those dudes are being mean to little Groot. They're like pouring booze on him and smacking him around and all that. It's kind of mean-spirited a little bit. And it's just the fight's kind of lame. I don't know. I'm not real big on this one. I like the Yondu stuff at the end, the Mary Poppins and all that stuff. I like that. But on the whole, Guardians 2 is kind of weak for me. Number 20, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, this is where they make up for what they did in Iron Man 3 with the Mandarin. We actually have who was claiming to be the Mandarin. And the Ten Rings are like the cosmic rings that he's fighting Shang-Chi with. And the fight scenes in this are excellent. The martial arts choreography is fantastic. I think there's too much green screen. There's too much dragon stuff. But you got the Dweller in Darkness and whatever the other guy's called. The big dragons fighting each other at the end. It's just a little much. But on the whole, the fight scenes are at least impressive. And I love I think it's the bus scene where he's got fighting a guy called Razor Fist, and he's slicing the bus all up, and it was a really cool fight scene, but a lot of wasted characters, I feel like. Number 19, the first Ant-Man movie lands here. Again, basically your villain is another Ant-Man, Yellow Jacket. He's just an Ant-Man, only bad. The one thing that I love, it has a good tone. There's good comedy here. Paul Rudd's great as Ant-Man. And the fight on the Thomas the Train engine was hilarious because it looks epic to them, and then with us, it's just like, in the little little girl's room. That was hilarious. There's a lot of good stuff to take away from it here, but at the end of the day, it's still. I don't know. I was higher up on it about 10 years ago, but now I'm just like, it's forgettable. Number 18, Black Panther. I know this is a hot take, and I know there's cultural significance and everything. The villain's great. Killmonger's a great villain, but the CGI takes it out of it and takes it away from me. I just don't. The CGI's weak, and I like Black Panther as a character, but I don't like the way the story plays out. I like Killmonger as a villain. I don't love everything he did. I think they wasted Claw. He just kills Claw willy-nilly. Claw showed up in Age of Ultron. Andy Serkis played him. Andy Serkis is great. And he shows up here and he dies willy-nilly. And I'm just like, you just wasted the best character in your movie. And, it's just, I get it, but at the same time, I don't get it. Because this movie was like nominated for all these Oscars or whatever it is, and then it came out the same year as Infinity War, and Infinity War seemed like it barely got any recognition at all. And I'm just like, there's no comparison which movie's better, but Black Panther got all this praise and Infinity War didn't. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. But I don't hate Black Panther. It's just, it's this far down because there's others that I just enjoy more. Like number 17, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I will say, this movie was hard to watch because it tells the backstory to Rocket, and he's got his little animal friends, and you got the high evolutionary just wiping them out, killing them, and I'm just like, man, they're killing all these little animal buddies. Like, that's messed up. I don't like anybody hurting animals in movies, even if they're talking sentient animals.
Is Rocket the little raccoon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And he had a little buddy, there's a little like a platypus and a little something else, and all his buddies die, and it shows like his backstory and everything. And it was sad. It was hard to watch. And that's the thing with Guardians, like they rounded it off, I guess, nicely. But the first one was so funny. It had heart, but it was also hilarious, and there wasn't near as much humor to me in this one. And they wasted Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock is a huge cosmic character in Marvel Comics, and he's just a muscle with it that's just stupid. He shows up and causes all this trouble, and he gets redeemed in the end part of it, but they just wasted it. They made him stupid. I just don't like some of the choices they make with some characters. They're just completely wrong. I love Adam Warlock in the comics, especially he's a big arch enemy to Thanos. He works a lot with Silver Surfer and all this stuff, and they didn't do any of that. And I'm just like, he's just wasted. So that rubbed me the wrong way. Number 16, Avengers Age of Ultron. Easily the worst of the Avengers movie, the weakest. I like James Spader as Ultron, but I feel like they were trying so hard to keep the momentum going from the first Avengers that it kind of lost a little bit of its magic. I like it, but I don't love it. It's the one Avengers movie that I don't love. I like it. But it's not a total waste. I mean, there's good things here. You got the Hulk fighting Tony Stark's Hulk Buster suit. That's cool. You got Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen. Really, like she's briefly introduced in Winter Soldier, but she shows up here prominently with Quicksilver, and they're causing all these problems with the Avengers and like messing with their heads and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of foreshadowing of what's to come. They foreshadow Civil War. They foreshadow Thanos and everything coming for the Infinity Stones and blah blah blah. And but they try to do too much. They try to do too much with it. We're at number 15, Captain America: The First Avenger, the very first Captain America movie. Really, really solid. Cap has the best solo trilogy in the MCU. This is the weakest of the three. It's still good, but But this one, you've got Red Skull, which pretty much he doesn't do much in this movie. He's after an Infinity Stone. I mean, that's pretty much what the first phase is all about. A villain is after one of those stones, and it tells a really good origin story about Cap. But, there's a lot of green screen, a lot of noticeable green screen, and it's not always the best. And I know that changes with time, and it's going to look a little rough around the edges as time moves on. But, I mean, it's more noticeable than most of the rest of Phase 1 was. But I still really enjoy it. Number 14, Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, I was talking earlier about the fight scenes involving Spider-Man. The fight scenes with the Vulture are weak. I like Vulture a lot. And my favorite part is where Peter Parker goes to pick up his date and realizes that the Vulture is her dad. And Michael Keaton answers the door.
Keaton, yeah.
That was awesome. I loved
like that one.
I do too. I like it. And then when they're driving down the road and he's asking all these questions about Spider-Man, blah, 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 and he's piecing it together, and you can tell his eyes, he's like, he knows exactly who it is. And, that's my favorite part. But as far as the fight scenes between Spider-Man and Vulture, I think they're weak. I think there's not a lot that Spider-Man does or Vulture does that's overly impressive. There's no choreography. It's just an airplane, and Vulture's trying to take the doodads that Tony Stark and them have in the plane, and he has to crash land the plane.
It's all on a beach.
Yeah, it was on a beach.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was underwhelming. But Michael Keaton was awesome. in the role. He did great. I just don't like the fight scenes in it. Number 13, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This is the second Doctor Strange, and I think it was better than the first one. Sam Raimi directed this one, which he did the Spider-Man trilogy for Tobey Maguire, and he did the Evil Dead. There's a lot of Evil Dead references here. Bruce Campbell shows up. It was really fun, really cool, but it was also felt like it was a half and half movie where you could really tell where Sam Raimi took the reins and was controlling, and then you could tell where the studio butted in. And it was like the script. Elizabeth Olsen, I heard in an interview, they kept changing the script over and over, and she was like, "I don't even know what movie we're shooting now." It's like it's over and over. They keep changing the script.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's not a good sign. Mm-hmm. But
make up your mind, guys.
Right, but there's great visuals here. There is whenever they get the dead body of that other Doctor Strange and they resurrect him and he's doing all this crazy stuff. That was cool. I like that. We got to see the Illuminati where Professor X shows up and Black Bolt shows up and Mr. Fantastic, and Scarlet Witch just mops the floor with all of them. But it was cool to see them. A lot of cameos. That was my main reason for liking it, but was the cameos. But I'm hoping that the third one, if they do a third one, I hope it's good. Number 12, Thunderbolts. You and I went and seen this in the theater together.
I liked it.
I like Thunderbolts. I really liked the dynamic between a lot of the characters and stuff. I felt like they wasted, what's her face? What's the one character that gets shot in the face in 2 minutes in the movie? Which character was it? Oh, was it Taskmaster? No, it wasn't Taskmaster. Which character was it now? Because you got U.S. Agent, you got Yelena, you got Red Guardian, you got Sentry, you got Ghost, and who was that other character? I feel so stupid now, folks.
Taskmaster.
Was it Taskmaster? Okay, it was Taskmaster. They completely wasted Taskmaster in the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. So she just
seemed like she was a bad A.
Yeah, and again,
I liked what I saw of that.
Yeah, and again, they got the character wrong in Black Widow, but they brought her back for this and then just killed her off. So, and I will say this, okay, when they introduced what's his face as Sentry and he comes out and he starts taking on all the Thunderbolts, and I was like, okay, this is Marvel's version of Superman, basically. They're not going to be able to stop him, And then when he goes crazy and does the Void and starts taking people out, and the darkness just comes around. I mean, that was cool, but I was like, how are these people? These are like street level characters. They're not going to be able to take this guy hand to hand. So they had to find a way to nerf him in order to bring him back down to our level. So they all like show him love and stuff, and they're all hugging him and everything and trying to bring him back to reality. And I appreciated it, but at the same time, I'm like, that's not going to work every time. The Void and Sentry are like super powerful characters in Marvel. And like, it's like what they've done with the Hulk. They just nerfed the Hulk to where he's almost a joke now. So I don't want them to do that to Sentry because he's too cool of a character. But anyway, I really like Thunderbolts. I really did. I didn't like them change it. They kind of changed the title now. That everybody's calling it New Avengers. It's Thunderbolts. I still call it Thunderbolts because that's what it was marketed as.
The Void. Mm-hmm. That's Thunderbolts we went and saw.
Yeah.
I think the reason I told you it seems so familiar to me, there is a kids movie called Rise of the Guardians. It's about Santa Claus, the Sandman, Tooth Fairy.
Okay.
They have a villain on there called Pitch Black, also known as the Boogeyman.
Oh.
And it kind of, we'll watch it. And
that's very similar.
That's what it reminded me of.
Oh, okay.
The black smoke,
I never saw
smoky around it and everything. You'll understand.
Even if I have to check it out now. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
So I told you that it reminded me of it. I had to remember his name.
Yeah. Well, now I'm interested.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's a cute movie.
Number 11 is Thor Ragnarok. I've talked about it briefly. They got the humor really good in this one. I will say there were times where, like, the humor kind of overshadowed a deep moment. Like at the end of it, Hela, it's revealed that Hela is Thor's sister, and like Odin's been keeping her locked away all this time. And when Odin died, she was released, and now she basically took out most of Asgard's army and everything, and they're all on the run. And Surtur comes back, the fire demon, and his purpose is to wipe the planet out. And you have Executioner showing up. You got the Fenris Wolf showing up. Jeff Goldblum plays the Grandmaster in this. He's hilarious. You've got the Hulk versus Thor and the gladiator fight, which is kind of cool. There's a lot. It's hit and miss for me, but the highs are high, and I do like Thor Ragnarok quite a bit. But I like Korg being introduced. But I will say, when Surtur and Hela are fighting and they're destroying Asgard, Thor and everybody's on this ship and they're watching their planet be destroyed, and Korg undercuts it with a joke. And I'm just like, can we have just a little breathing time to see that this whole planet that they've called home all these years is wiped out, and you're going to undercut it being funny? That's kind of stuff just goes all over me. Like, let us process the moment before you jump into the comedy. And so that's where the MCU falls flat a lot. We're in the top 10. We've reached number 10, and that is the Fantastic Four First Steps. This is another one we saw together in the theater. I love Galactus. We finally got to see a physical Galactus. I don't like how they took him down necessarily. I think they nerfed him a lot, because Galactus holds the earth in his hand. Like, he's huge compared to what we got in the comics. But he looked really cool. I loved how he was after Franklin Richards, because he could tell the power that this baby has, and that's what he wanted. And he was saying, I'll spare this planet if you let me have the baby. And of course they're like, no, But I'm mixed on the female Silver Surfer, because that's not I know that it exists, but we all know that Silver Surfer was a dude in the comic books. We all know that. There was an alternate version where Shia LaBeouf was the Silver Surfer, and they changed it for whatever reason. But Norrin Radd, to me, will always be the Silver Surfer. She did fine in the role, but that's the one part that kept glaring at me. I was like, well, And the Silver Surfer from 2007 in Rise of the Silver Surfer looked better than this Silver Surfer. So I was a little underwhelmed by the Silver Surfer. But she did some cool stuff. There's some really cool scenes. I love, what's his face that played Eddie as the Human Torch. Mm-hmm. I thought he was great. Vanessa Kirby was awesome as Invisible Woman. I thought she carried the team, I thought. I don't care for Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. He's in everything, and that's who I kept seeing. And the Thing was cool in this one. I thought he looked really cool in this one. Yeah. And they introduced the Mole Man, and they reference a lot of the other Fantastic Four characters from the 60s, which by today's standards would probably look cheesy and stupid, and yet they referenced them. They kept it. They actually referenced those original characters. And John Malkovich was supposed to appear in this movie. As a matter of fact, I was looking on IMDb when this movie was coming out. They didn't say who he was playing, but he had the big beard grown out. I said, well, he's going to be Red Ghost. Red Ghost is a cool villain in the comics, and he had the super apes. And in the movie, they show one of the super apes in a flashback scene, but that's it. They must have wrote John Malkovich out of the movie, which he's one of my favorite actors, so I was a little bummed about that. But anyway, it is what it is. So that's number 10. Number 9 is the one that started it all, the original Iron Man. And the reason it's number 9, I know this is top-notch for a lot of people, but it's number 9 for me because part of my list is rewatchability, and I don't rewatch Iron Man very often. Now, I feel like the first Iron Man is very dated. It's very... About today's standards, it's not the best looking movie. Robert Downey Jr. is awesome, and I'll never take that away from him. But it's very dated by today's standards. It's the same reason why, as much as I love the first X-Men, I can't go back and watch it very often because it's very, very visually dated. But There's a lot of good moments in there. And of course, we get the Nick Fury credit scene where he's like, I'm here about the Avenger Initiative. And man, when we went to the theater and seen that, I mean, it was like screaming at the TV because we were like, finally getting Avengers. That's awesome. They were going to build this universe and they were counting on this one character. And this was Robert Downey Jr.'s comeback. You know, he'd had a lot of trouble in Hollywood and stuff, and his career was almost over. And he comes back for this role, basically plays himself, and goes through the roof. And I couldn't ask for a better guy to carry the franchise. And that's number 9. Number 8, Deadpool and Wolverine. This movie is, I know you don't like this movie, but I also feel like you didn't give it a fair shake. But
I don't like Deadpool, period.
Well, I know. And Deadpool, I watched it for Wolverine. That's the main reason I watched it. Hugh Jackman is awesome as Wolverine. He's my favorite superhero actor ever, and I don't think they'll ever top Wolverine other than Hugh Jackman. They'll never beat him. I think they did a really good job referencing the other X-Men movies, the other Fox Universes movies. You get the old Fantastic Four referenced. You got Daredevil and Elektra referenced. The X-Men are obviously referenced. And so all of these movies, Blade is in there. You know, you got Gambit. I mean, you got a really a long list of cameos that show up, and you can just pinpoint different characters, like from The Punisher and from Blade and from different ones that just show up, and it's awesome. And you know, it's gritty and grimy, but all the different versions of Wolverine that Deadpool's trying to recruit when he's going to different universes. And you get to see the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, and you get to see the Wolverine that's like actual size, and you get to see Henry Cavill. It's like all these just Easter eggs that everybody's just going nuts about. It's awesome. And that's why it's sitting here at number 8. Number 7, The Avengers. The very first Avengers movie was a great, that it was an experience. Because you get to see all these characters coming together for the first time to team up and build a team and create unison to beat this huge army that's coming out of space. And you got Loki being the villain, and you know you've got the version of Hulk that we have come to love, Captain America and Iron Man and Thor and Hawkeye and Black Widow, and everybody's working together. Everybody gets their moments to shine. You get Hulk and Thor fighting. You get Loki taking on Captain America in Germany, and all these really cool moments that stick out, and the dialogue where they're obviously already setting up Civil War when they did this first Avengers movie. Just listening to Tony and Steve go at each other and be like, you know, you're just a man in a suit and blah, blah, blah. It's just so cool just to listen to that dialogue, especially now. And I'll always have a special place in my heart for the first Avengers movie. Number 6, Spider-Man No Way Home. This movie's great, okay? And you can talk about how it's silly that Doctor Strange is listening to Peter making this spell, and he's like, oh no, but nobody can, you know, I need Ned to know, and I need Aunt May to know, and blah, 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 you know, and he keeps messing the spell all up. And then it's like, all the Spider-Man universes are being opened, and we get to see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire come back, and you get to see all 3 of the Spider-Man working together to fight their old enemies. There was so much nostalgia here. I love seeing Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin again. I love seeing...
Yeah, that's never going to get old.
No. When you can hear that laugh, you think, you know exactly who it is. It's awesome. You get to see Doc Ock again, and he was great in this movie. Alfred Molina was great as Doc Ock. And you get to see Sandman and Lizard and Electro. They all come back, and all the Spider-Man have to team up to beat him. And Andrew Garfield, I never liked his Spider-Man movies, but he was great in this movie. And whenever they're talking about, you know, they're getting their signals mixed up and they're not fighting well, and he's like, okay, we got to do this different. He's like, I'm Peter 1, you're Peter 2, and then Andrew's like, I'm Peter 3. You know, and it's just so funny. And then he gets his moment where, like, MJ's falling off the thing.
That got me.
And he catches her because he didn't save his own woman. He didn't save Gwen, and she died in his arms. That was heartbreaking, and you could see it in his face that he was just crying because he saved this one, but he couldn't save his. And it's just so much, a lot of character development. And when they actually killed Aunt May, and the glider hit her, and I was like, how is she standing? And then she just collapses, and you're just like, oh no. And I watched a video the other day. I didn't notice this before. The scene where they're putting together the stuff that's going to stop each guy, they never mention the goblin's name. And somebody said it's probably because Tom Holland's Peter Parker wanted to kill the goblin for what he did. He didn't want to cure him. They wanted to cure the lizard and the Sandman and everybody. They didn't want to cure Goblin because Tom Holland's Peter Parker wanted him dead for killing Aunt May. And when he goes to do it with the glider and Tobey Maguire stops him, I was just like, oh man, there's so much heart, because he's just staring him in the eyes. It's like, don't do this. And then of course Tobey gets stabbed, and I was like, if they kill Tobey Maguire, I'm walking out. Like, I'm done. Like,
the first Spider-Man is my favorite.
Me too.
Out of all of these, the first Spider-Man.
The first movie. I think the second one is my favorite of that.
And I don't even think it's because of Tobey Maguire. I think what did it in for me was William Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe was fantastic.
The Green Goblin. I don't think they could have picked a better character.
No.
A better person.
He's such a psycho, and like the way he talks to himself, like in the goblin voice, it's just creepy. I love it too. Yeah, he'll always be top notch for me. Number 5, Avengers Endgame. This movie is great, and then you get to the last hour, and it's fantastic. And when you get Iron Man, Thor, and Cap, and they're fighting Thanos, and they're just about dead. Cap is by himself. His shield's been shattered, and he's staring down at Thanos and his army. And then he hears this thing, Cap, are you there? He's like, on your left. And he turns and looks, and the portals start opening, and everybody shows back up after being gone for 5 years.
Goosebumps.
And I know, and this is my favorite cinematic moment of all time, because you've got all of these characters that we love, and we knew that they were going to come back, but they found the perfect time to bring them back. Thanos snapped his finger, and these people ceased to exist. And then when they come back, and the portals open, and you finally hear Cap say, "Avengers assemble," and it's just nuts. Everybody went nuts, screaming at the screen. It was so awesome. And so many great moments for everybody to shine. There's so much fan service done in this scene. I don't care. The rest of the movie's hit and miss. I get it. I've got problems with it. It's not far from perfect. But this battle, I don't see how they're ever going to top it. I just don't see how. This movie has, this battle has everything you want. And then Tony finally, he looks over at Strange, and Strange had already told him, he's like, we win one time. He's like, if I tell you what happens, it won't happen. And then there's a moment where Tony's looking at Thanos, and then he looks over at Strange, and Strange gives him that one finger. He's like, that's it. This is your moment. And he gets the stones, and Thanos is about to snap, and then he looks, and the stones are gone, and Tony's got them on his gauntlet, and he's like, I am Iron Man. Boom. And just, they're gone. Oh man, just chills. And of course, they had to sacrifice Tony. That's his big moment. And it makes sense, because in the first Avengers movie, they set this up because Cap told Tony, you are not the guy to make the sacrifice play. And he did. He made the sacrifice play. Avengers Endgame is fantastic, guys. And yet, it's not number 1 for me. So brace yourself. Number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy. I love this movie, and it's mainly because of the banter with the characters, and it's mainly because of Rocket and Groot. I love Rocket, and I love Groot. Groot going around and I am Groot and everything, and there's a scene where Groot has this big hallway of enemies, and he runs them all through with his branch and then slaps them around like that, and then he turns around and he smiles. It's perfect. I don't care a lot for Ronan the Accuser as a villain. I think he's kind of wasted. But it fits in with here because Ronan is so serious and everything. And you've got this team that's just nutty and goofy and everything. And it works. And the soundtrack's awesome. The colors are great. And it's a fun movie. We needed a really fun movie, and we got it with Guardians. So that's number 4. Number 3, Captain America Civil War, where Cap and Iron Man are on opposite sides of the law, and each one of them have superheroes on their team, and they got to fight it out. The airport fight scene is one of the best ever. We're introduced to Spider-Man here. We're introduced to Black Panther in this movie. It's great. It's great. And the whole thing where they're tearing themselves apart from the inside, as Ultron predicted. You know, there's so much, if you go back in the other movies and it's referenced what's coming. That's a big thing about what's coming. The Avengers broke up in Captain America Civil War. And they were never the same. And if you think about it, had they been united, they may have beaten Thanos. But they didn't. This half lost, and then this half lost. So anyways, it's a very consequential film, but I love Civil War. I enjoy it. Every time I watch it, I enjoy it. Number 2, Captain America the Winter Soldier. And I said it when I was reviewing my favorite movies of all time. This has some of the best cinematography I've ever seen. This is one of the best movies ever made. The fight scenes are fantastic. And the drama and the intrigue, the cat and mouse of it, it's like a political thriller kind of, and you got the Nick Fury chase scene, and you've got Cap chasing Winter Soldier down, and they're fighting street, and you introduce Falcon in this one. There's just so much to love here, and it's a serious movie. It takes itself very seriously. It could have been hokey, but it wasn't. It was perfect. This movie is only beaten by one in the franchise, and that is Avengers Infinity War. To me, that is the perfect movie. It's perfect. Thanos is a perfect villain. I don't know that they will ever top it. I hope they do, but Thanos was so great at this movie, and Josh Brolin nailed it. And it ends bleak, where everybody's beaten. The good guys lose. Thanos wins. And of course, obviously, they got to fix it. But at the time, this was like a big lead balloon crashing down. Thanos wipes out half of the universe. And that's how it's left for 5 years. And so everybody has to come back in Endgame and fix it. But Infinity War was great. There were so many moments where, you get to see Iron Man and Doctor Strange talking to each other, which we wanted. You get to see different characters and factions together that you normally don't. Thor was with the Guardians, and Cap was forming this new secret alliance of Avengers over here. And the whole thing with Thanos' children, each going after a different stone, blah, blah, blah. It's so much here to love, and the way that it ends, it just hits you right in the gut, and I love it. If I could only have one movie in the world, it would probably be Infinity War. And that's how I would rank the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. I know that I didn't touch on the TVs and the specials and all of that, TV shows, but it's too much. This was over an hour talking about just these movies. So what are your guys' picks down below? Did I get it all wrong? Let me know your opinions. Let's have a lively discussion. Hit the thumbs up if you like it. I realize you didn't have a lot to say or get a lot to say, probably because I was running my mouth too much. But I appreciate you guys sticking with me on this. And, share this across your social media and come back the next time. But until then, we'll see you guys.